Hello and hi, welcome to Yedidia Shofet.net, and welcome to this week's Parshat Devarim. Parshat Devarim is the last book, the last volume out of the five of the Chamisha Chumshei Torah, out of the 5 books of the Torah. Devarim is the last one, and it begins with the words of Moshe Rabbeinu. It begins with the words of our leader, our shepherd, Moshe Rabbeinu. He led us through everything so far, and what is it in which that he's trying to tell us in Devarim? In Devarim, if you look at all the words and everything put together, it's all meant to be in a way. For instance, you see Devarim, Va'et Chanan, Re'eh, Ekev, and so on and so forth. All of these parshiot, all the names of the parsha, the Torah portions, they're actually a hint, or not just a hint, they're trying to tell you something. And if you notice, they're written in a way as if someone is speaking to you, or is mentioning something to you. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu is trying to imply a lot of things. As we know in Devarim, it's almost like a review, but it's really not, because there are several new ideas in Devarim. However, all the ideas that were mentioned in the Torah before, they are also mentioned in the entire Devarim. And he tries to bring out of all the ideas, different forms of rebuke, of tochacha, of admonishment. And what does he do with this admonishment? He tries to say it in a way that can only cause constructive criticism. And we know that how is this done? This is done with pure love and care. There is a story of Rav Dov Ber. When he was a kid, he got very scared one Shabbat. They had to bring in a doctor because he was so frightened. He was panicking. So what did the doctor do? He was checking his pulse, he was checking his heart rate, everything. And he asked, "What's wrong?" He says, "Let me tell you something. Up till this year, all the admonishments and rebukes in the Torah, it was read by my father, and it never felt like a curse. But this year, somebody else read the rebukes and the admonishments in the Torah, and it felt like a curse." He was saying that all mashgiachs, what's a mashgiach? You know, for food, it's the guy who takes care of in the back room. He makes sure everything is set. But the mashgiach in the yeshiva, or the mashgiach, when it comes to teaching spiritually, it's called the mashgiach haruchani. That mashgiach is one who guides you, the one who helps you, not just admonishes you, not just criticizes you, but he actually is there to give you a shoulder, to give you help. And Moshe Rabbeinu, as we see, he barely gave any admonishment in the entire Torah. Only towards the end of his life, just like Jacob, just like Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu was also only at the end of his life he actually gave admonishment. So what does this tell us? It tells us how dear it is to actually show and give a form of tochacha. And there's a beautiful story that just that implies how a teacher, no matter how much he rebukes or how much he actually admonishes his student, it shows the love of the teacher and the student. And that is, one time there was a fellow, this Rabbi Rav Stern. It was a very rainy day, and he wanted to go to a bar mitzvah of a kid, in which that a couple times he was teaching him. So that day, it was a rainy and snowy day. He went through all the snow and rain, and he's like, "Wow, it's amazing! It's amazing that I feel so good that I'm able to do this for this bar mitzvah boy." However, as he's walking towards the hall, he sees a taxi pull up, and a very old man, Rav Chaim Shmulevitz, he was trying to get out of the taxi. So this Rabbi Rav Stern, he runs to Rav Chaim Shmulevitz. He picks up his hand, he gets him out of the taxi, only so he can bring him into the hall. And Rav Stern asks him, "Rabbi, it's so difficult, why are you here?" So he says, "Why am I not here? His father comes to my shiur, he comes to my classes." So Rav Stern tells him, "What do you mean he comes to his classes? There are thousands of people come to his classes. You're going to go to all of their kids' bar mitzvahs?" So the rabbi looks at Rav Stern. Rav Chaim Shmulevitz looks at Rav Stern and says, "You can't look at it that way. Each and every individual that comes to the shiur is part of the shiur. They are the ones who make up the shiur. If you start singling out, this one doesn't come, that one doesn't come, that one doesn't come, I'm just going to be giving classes to the walls. But each and every person, they make a difference. as in the earlier speeches that I talked about, that what the significance of just one person has, and how Moshe Rabbeinu, how when he was imploring upon God in order to choose the next leader, someone who actually looks at each and every person's differences, who looks at each and every person's characteristics and traits, and that he takes it in perspective, because a leader is one who looks at each person individually. And Moshe Rabbeinu, when he's giving all the words of Devarim, he's giving the words of Tochacha, of rebuke and admonishment, he's giving it with love. He's only trying to show his criticism constructively. And that's why it takes so much longer, rather just one tirade to another person. But rather he's showing these are the keys to life. These are the keys in order to be the better Jew. These are the keys in order to be the best person that you can be. I want to wish everyone a beautiful Shabbat for you and your family by the tables, always Ad Mea V'Esrim, and of course have a meaningful, easy fast, and may you always be healthy. Shabbat Shalom.